workflow and content automation. Let us have the next speaker, Ms. Maria Zink, Asia Regional Sales Director, and two more colleagues that will be joining her later, I guess.
Thank you very much.
All right, okay, thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Great to be here. Delvin YZ, thank you so much for doing such a great job. I think when I see all the presentations that have been made today, you have so much choice. You have so much choice to decide on what software you use. You have so much choice to decide on what hardware you use. What you have a choice also is to use a great system integrator like SRKK. And it's probably the reason that you're here today. So I'd like to thank Lipson and all the team for putting on such a great event. We're very proud to be part of it. And we're also very proud that SRKK is a premier partner of Nintex here in Malaysia. What does that mean for you? That means for you that when you go and talk to them about Nintex or SharePoint or AvaPoint or any one of these sorts of services, they are the best in breed in the country to be able to help you add value to your business. So again, my name is Maria Zink. I'm the Asia Regional Sales Director for Nintex. Very happy to be here. And as part of our presentation, what we wanted to do is mix it up a little bit. And I wanted to talk a little bit about Nintex, share again some concepts with you, but then I wanted to bring an iconic brand in Malaysia. Chong Yong is a valued business partner of ours. He's going to come up and talk to you about how Petronas implemented Nintex into their business. He's going to talk to you about how easy it was and actually what he derived as value. So I thought it'd be really good for you to hear from a customer who's in your backyard. And then after that, Armin from SRKK is going to come up and talk to you about how he implemented a solution based on Nintex into JobStreet, which is another iconic brand. So you can actually see how easy it is to implement these services and how quickly that you can do it. So again, great to be here. We welcome the opportunity to have a conversation with you at our booth outside. You are welcome to see any of the slides that we have. So if you come and give us your business card, we'll give you a gift from Nintex, and we'll also take your business card and share with you through SharePoint external or through Dropbox or through the medium that you choose, our slide deck today. So for those of you who have all sat here, and I don't know that any of you are as old as I am in the industry. However, we started talking about digital in the industry probably about 6 or 7 years ago. And even way back then, I remember sitting down talking to PwC and saying, what does digital actually mean? And I think a lot of people are confused and think it is a destination. One of the things I'd love to share with you is it's not a destination. It's a destination and a journey combined, right? So every time you think about digital, a lot of you are already doing this in your workplace at this time. Digital is really about being agile, it's about being flexible, it's about being responsive, and it's about being secure. So I know a lot of you are enterprise and corporate businesses right here, and these are the things that keep you awake every day, and they're things that you're doing every day. So you're probably on this digital journey already. The thing that's happening at the moment is that we have to get up speed and momentum. So everything has to be more secure because we've got more devices. Everything has to be faster because we've got things that we need to do in our business to be faster. Everything has to be quicker because we've got to get to that customer and either give them a service to beat our competitors or give them a service that is going to increase their loyalty to us. So be brave, be bold. You're on the road already. It's about pace and preference, and I think what you've heard today is that you've got choice. I wanted to talk a little bit about what our value proposition is at Nintex at the higher level, and this is as much about, you've heard some great technologies today, you've heard about Microsoft a lot, I used to work for Microsoft, you've heard about Dropbox, SharePoint, all of these organizations. The Adobe guys did a great job in presenting their cloud services. What we are doing at Nintex is we're wrapping all these things together, and again, pace and preference is what we look at. So how do you take people in your organization? Because remember a lot about digitization, as the team at Avapoint said, is not always about IT. It's about how do you help your people do things differently. A lot of what we do in Nintex is about how do we make more efficient processes. So it's not just about taking paper out of your business, but it's about what processes can be automated that stop human intervention having to happen, and that those people actually can go on to do more productive things in the business. So again, when you're looking at automation, it's incredibly important that you think about the people, the process, and all of the content that is happening in your business today. And again, this is all, we're changing the landscape by doing digital. We've got IT challenges, line of business needs. As vendors now, and I think we all have heard that today, as valued customers of ours, we can't just talk to your IT department. We've actually got to talk to the business users in your organisations too, to get a temperature of what the business needs to do and how IT and software can actually support the business, but also how our software can support the users in the direction that the company as a business is wanting to take. So in our businesses today, we have all of these balls that we're trying to juggle, and where do you start most of the time? So I wanted to just come back to you and give you some confidence about our heritage. For those of you who don't know about Nintex, we started on a journey probably about 10 years ago, and we realised that there were a lot of customers who were in the enterprise using SharePoint. SharePoint was the fastest to $1 billion product in Microsoft ever. So the challenge with SharePoint is that it went viral. Once someone gets SharePoint and starts using it, they never want to go away from using it. I'm a power user of SharePoint, I'm a bit the same. But we started our heritage on taking SharePoint and realising that that was a great repository for documents and processes, but we also needed to take it and extend how did we use that asset to actually improve the way people were actually processing work, not just where the work was captured. When Microsoft moved to Office 365, Nintex actually did the same thing. Many of you have Office 365 in your environments. So what we want to do is capitalise on that asset that you have and that investment you have, and make sure that Nintex workflow and forms was available in an Office 365 environment. The next journey that we had is you hear a lot about cloud, and I talk a lot about pace and preference. Cloud gives you a pace, it gives you an agility, it gives you something quick. The danger with thinking about cloud is that you don't always have to move everything to the cloud. Sometimes your business will need that to do that from an agility perspective. But I often say start with cloud on something new that you want to do. Therefore, you're breaking a cycle, right? And we in our organisation are incredibly proud of the fact that we give you preference. You want to stay on premise? That's great. We respect that. We've got products that can help you do that. You want to have a hybrid environment? We do that as well. And if you solely want to do workflow and processes in the cloud, we can actually start there with you also. So again, it's really important when you're choosing to work with a software vendor that they give you all of those preferences, because it's incredibly important that they take you on that journey. The key thing that we are looking at now is actually providing not just software to you, but providing workflow as a service. Recognising what you are doing in your business, recognising the impact that your people have to make, and ensuring that it's as simple as possible for you to implement and actually get started. And Armin's going to talk a little bit about that later. So again, just to wrap this up a little bit, Nintex is all about, Nintex is all about a platform to make things work better in your organisation. So if you want to increase productivity, think a lot about what options you have. If you want to cut costs, obviously cloud gives you a great opportunity to do that. Workflow automation gives you a great opportunity to do that as well. And I want to talk, I've talked a lot about with some of our partners about workflow automation doesn't mean getting rid of people. It actually doesn't. It means about improving your employee experience, helping them be faster and more agile in the job that they do, and moving people-centric activities to higher value in your organisation. There are a lot of IoT, a lot of you are considering IoT. Mr. Nando was talking about IoT today, and what happens when, the most important thing you want to happen with chicken when it's frozen is for it to stay frozen, right? I mean, it's a disaster if anything happens in the freezers. We're doing some work with bottlers as well. How do you take an IoT sensor and that raising an alert, and then that alert recognizing that an action has to happen? Insert Nintex into that. So Nintex not only provides workflow automation, but it provides the intelligence that you set up in a workflow to say once an alert comes into your organisation, it starts an activity without having to have a human intervention. I think Delvin made an incredibly astute comment on one of his slides where you saw all of those IT actions. I used to be an engineer, and I used to come in on beginning a shift, and I would be going, oh, look at the screens of activities we had to go through. A lot of those activities could have easily been automated, and we do that through Nintex workflow. Most important thing also is to drive revenue. We've got several implementations where the biggest issue, for example, in a bank is to get a loan approval through the process. Also to get a credit card through the process. So say, for example, if I go to a bank and I apply for a credit card, that bank wants me to start using that credit card as quickly as possible. Every day that bank doesn't give me the credit card is a day that I am not using their loan system. So we've had very many instances where we've helped fasten up that drive to revenue, and it's that getting to the customer quicker. And the other thing is improving satisfaction. I'm a bit of a consumer at heart when it comes to business, and I think today a lot of the teams were talking about users bringing their work devices to work. I think a lot of our teams now bring their consumer experience into the business. I want to purchase this online. I want to do things faster. I want to be able to IM with or federate with my fellow users. I don't know, one of the first things I wanted to know when I joined Nintex was, are we federated on Skype with some of the businesses that we do business with? And do I have that ability to do that, right? So it's really important to actually look at all these things in harmony and unison when you're trying to do something better. I'm going to dive down into a little bit of a product pitch just for a moment. And I want to paint a picture here. We've got workflow, and that's all about making people and processes more efficient in your organisation. We've got forms, and you've heard a lot today about forms and content. It's incredibly important that as a business that you have your forms locked down, that they're automated, that the content is able to be stored in a way that's safe. So we have options for you there. All of you would have heard today, every one of us is looking at mobility. It's incredibly important. The office is no longer a place that you go to work. It's a place that you go to collaborate. It's a place that you go to socialise, but it's not the only place also that you do work. So a lot of us are on the road, and particularly I've been blessed while I've been in here in Malaysia the last few days. I haven't got stuck in traffic. So the traffic gods have been on my side. But, I do get stuck in traffic in many countries, and you want to be able to do things mobile when you're away or when you're out of the office. The one thing that differentiates us also is that we have connectors to many different forms, many different processes, many different hardwares, many different software. At Nintex, we recognise that you've got an install base, and we want to make it as easy as possible, whatever hardware or software you're on, for us to be able to capitalise on that and for you to be able to use our software to connect back into it. Incredibly important when you're looking at choosing software vendors that they're able to interact with each other. really interesting. The guys at Everpoint shared their slide deck with us, and they shared it through SharePoint External. So those sorts of things are really important when you know you're going to do business-to-business activities. For those of you who sit in really big SAP farms, we purchased DrawLoop because we recognised how important it was in our process to actually make sure that we were able to automate documents. So for those of you sitting in an SAP environment, and many of you are, we've actually made it very easy to extract documents out of SAP to automate those and actually workflow those as well. It is absolutely behoven on all of us, particularly where you've got processes, to have a way of looking at process intelligence. And we have our product called Nintex Hawkeye that actually looks at what's happening in your process, the processes that you've automated, the documents that you've automated, and actually what is working really, really well and what needs some improvement. And these types of tools sit on existing BI tools that you have also. So you can see we've considered all of your needs, we've got an option for all of your requirements, and we've got a pace in which we can take you on this journey. The really important thing that we've got here is this. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this one because Chong Yong and Armin are going to actually share this one with you. But we do want to make sure that you really understand your workflow, you understand what the ROI on it is, you understand what the TCO on it is, and you understand where it is working well. Now, this slide is a little bit of a mind chart, but when I first looked at this slide, I thought it was really important to actually share this with you. This slide gives you an idea of all of the different types of processes that you would naturally and natively have in your organisation. And this is usually the one that I start with whenever I'm going into a business to say, what would you like to automate within your business? Whether it's an HR function, whether it's a sales and marketing function, whether you're in customer service and support. These are all of the discrete processes that usually happen in any division, in any organisation. And what I usually do is I offer this up and say, where would you like to start? Where would you like to start this journey of automation or digitisation of your workflow and your work processes? And I encourage you, when you actually talk to vendors or when you talk to SRKK, think about it from the business perspective. Think about what is the technology that is going to enable you to improve these processes. And again, we can do it at your pace and at your preference. This is always a good place to start. Finally, together we can really make a difference. We want to be a great business partner for you. We think you being here today, you've chosen a great business partner in SRKK. We are outside, happy to have any conversation with you, no matter how big or small. Thank you all for your time today. You've been a great audience. I look forward to talking to you later on in the day. And without further ado, I welcome a great business partner of ours, Chong Yong from Petronas, who is actually going to talk to you a little bit about implementation of this.
And today I will just wish to quickly share with you one of the example or case study how we actually digitalize one of our processes. So actually I would like to first share about the problem we have in our organization. So as the ICT company of Petronas, we are actually servicing some 300 company of Petronas. So there are a lot of people involved, and then ICT services is like managed services, infrastructure, laptop problem, application support. For my department, actually, we are responsible for application developments. So for every IT request, the business have to raise their request. Previously, a few years back, it was very difficult. Firstly, they need to fill out a manual form and then get their management to put their signature on it, make sure the budget is already there, and then they will approach their account manager. So since there are so many companies, so the first problem they have is actually who is my account manager that I should go to, right? So once the account manager, maybe they will email the manual form and all the documents about their requirement to the account managers. Once the account manager get their documents, then she or he need to identify. So which delivery unit I should go to, which department I should go to actually to handle this request. So it's another difficult task to do. And then for every IT service request, typically we go through a few stages. Like firstly, we will qualification stage where we will validate all the information, whether this is just an operation support or it qualified to be raised as an IT project. And then we go on with the proposal with the individual delivery units. For example, or we want to deliver this project as a SharePoint project, or it's a custom built ASP.NET application. So once the contract is signed, then we go on execution and control, and finally closure. So in every stage, the stakeholders are different. So like for qualification, maybe the account managers team are heavily involved. Proposal team is the architect team who will be heavily involved. Execution and control is the developers, the tester, and all the operation support and everything. So since there are so many stakeholders, it's very difficult to like process the document, just as the previous presenter have told. So we put our document in the email sent to the respective person, and it's very difficult to keep track which proposal is the latest, right? For example. So our objective of the project is actually we want to automate everything, because once you complete your task, the biggest question is actually what is next. We don't know once we so if there's the business process is already automated, so the system will actually tell you what is next. It will route the request to the correct team in a short time. And then there's a need to also capture the data, because if the information is sitting in your laptop or sitting in a shared drive, it will not be very useful, because we cannot do analysis, cannot do planning based on all this data. And then another thing is we need the process, because it's a very long process, so we need to be able to keep track what is the status of the request now, and then who is currently owning, who is currently looking into this request. And then finally, we also would like to have management report and dashboard, so that it will produce some insight to like how many requests currently in the organization, which delivery unit is actually have the most service requests, so that they can project what is coming in the next year, and they can do planning and projections. So how we actually implement our solution is actually, we don't want to customize our SharePoint, because it will take a lot of time to actually do the business automation. And then also for visualization, we are using mChart. So the complete solution is actually a combination of SharePoint, Nintex, and mChart. So SharePoint is already in the organization for a very long time. So we are using it as the collaboration platform, document management feature, versioning, check-in, check-out, co-ordering, and there are many useful features. And then for Nintex workflow, we actually employ it so that it will automate our business process. So everyone will now follow the process. Unlike previously, every department, maybe some they will go to the account manager, some they will approach the delivery unit directly if they know the people there. So we also have the mChart for visualization, so that it produces pie chart, bar chart for reporting. So if you take another step into the solution, like SharePoint also offer you content type. So content type allow you to for different type of work, actually you need to provide fill up different type of fields, different set of fields, and then it will attach different set of documents. So that is control. And then we also use document set. Document set is just like a folder, but it gives you the ability to tag with properties, so that the folder is like a folders with property. Where there's not enough, out of the box, we can always customize SharePoint for more. And for our IT service requests, application, we are using Nintex for assigning tasks and then sending out emails. And then Nintex also comes with the features like delegation of tasks. When someone is not available in the company, the user themselves can actually delegate, set the duration where you will be out of office, and the task can be assigned to your subordinate or something. And then we're also using Nintex to handle the permission, because even though it's one organization, but different company, like all the financials for the project are confidential, where you need to properly secure and only target to specific audience. And then there are site workflow which can be used like a scheduler job, like to check if we have overdue tasks. If there's overdue tasks, then it will perform the escalation and everything. And then we can also use Nintex to archive all the cancel or old requests to another site collection, so that the application will not be overwhelmed. So for end chart, it's just for the dashboard. Like now the management will be able to see the aging task, like, oh, this is already a long time, but how come it's still not closed, this kind of thing. So after a few years of using the application, we actually get Nintex to help us to check the result. So we found out that every day, actually there are 1,500 of unique visitors, meaning the adoption is very good. So people is already familiar with this new digital solution, instead of previously there's no way to track. So our workflow are currently processing 5,000 to 7,000 tasks per month. So every task is actually a productivity to us, because it's like an action is done in the company. And then also there's a place where people can check what is the status of this request, and currently it's with which team. And then there's a centralized repository for information, and everything is soft copy. When it's a soft copy, it can be used for analytics. So just to quickly share on the business benefit. So before that, every request actually take average of 2 months to complete. And then there are many of documents, and we don't know which one is the latest version. There's no traceability, like what is currently happening to the request. And there are also time loss to obtain physical signature, because Petronas, there are a lot of offices, and if you need to get physical signature, it will take a lot of time also. So beside the after digitalization benefits, it also increased the accountability, for example, because now people will see, okay, this architect is currently working on what, so he need to complete his task on time. And then people will also more adhere to the process, because it's already standardized. So last but not least, actually, this is our Petronas digitalization journey. Firstly, we would like to make all our content online first thing first, so that it can be used. Because, as I mentioned just now, if the data is sitting on individual laptop, it will not be useful to the company. So once most of our content is made online, actually, we will try to automate the process. Automate the process will just allow the system to tell you what is next. Instead of you asking this SME what is next, he tell you one thing. You ask another SME, he will tell you a different things. So this is the benefit of business automation. So if most of our process is already automated, we would like to empower the business user to do things themselves. Because take collaboration, for example, the person who know how best they can communicate is always the individual department. So you cannot ask the IT person to tell you, oh, how my department can collaborate better. So the people within the department should be able to use whatever IT provide to them and increase their productivity. So that's all I have today. So I will pass the stage to Amin. Thank you very much.
Thank you for everyone who's coming today. It's glad to see all of you here. My name is Amin, as you see, SRKK Consulting Director here. Basically, I'm based in Singapore office from the SRKK. But today it's an honor to have the discussion with you about the Nintex, and I will be go through the Nintex case study from the job street that we have done it by last year. This project has been done within 1 year because they have a lot of forms and the workflow then asking us to be converted to digital way of the SharePoint. Okay, at the beginning, the number of the workflow that we have been developed for them is 50. The platform that they're using is Office 365 SharePoint Online. I will go through the business strategy that they had previous time for traditional HR approval process. The user usually submit the item or the request via the paper form or via email. So the HOD, head of the department, usually we will receive the email notification and we will go through the items or the request from the user. Then they will be sent out the request back to the user. Here we call it as a request of the change. Usually request of the change will be happen so many times because the user might be didn't fill in the correct information within the forms. So this part will be happening, we call it as ding dong between user and HOD. So if HOD is approved the process, the system will be processed, will be reached to the country manager. In Job Street project, mostly the approver is not located in Malaysia because Job Street, they have different branch that is happen between Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, Thailand, and Indonesia. So in the case if the approver or the country manager is not located in Malaysia, they have to receive the item by the email. They have to print it out, go through the item, then check it again. If in the case they have any question or request of the change, they have to be scan it back and send it back to the user. So this process again will be happen. So if the user receiving the email again, they have to fill in the request of the change and send back to the country manager. Until the process is approved from the country manager, then the system will be processed to executive manager. So again, we have the same scenario here. This scenario will be happen by the email again and might be take more longer here. So until the executive manager is approved the system, we reach to the last stage is HR director manager. So if the HR director manager is approved or the request of the change again, the process will be happen. So after the last stage, will be safe to print, scan, and archive documents. So the document will be archived within the organization. So I will be go through the process one more round is form submission from the user, key user, initial user, HOD approval. We're going based on country manager approval. Then we have the executive approval, HR director approval. So the total day that they're going to spend is minimum 10 days. These 10 days is only for one submission of one request from the user. That is the huge for one organization like Job Street. So with the Nintex, for number of the user is 1,500 users. They're asking us to provide them some solution. So based on our funding between the Nintex and SharePoint designer, we suggest they use the Nintex because it's more efficient for them. We digital transform HR approval process for them. The process after we convert the form from the paper form to digital wise is going to be happen from the user. The workflow will be run. They will check. If they have any question or any request of the change, the system will be submitted. The HOD, head of the department, will be receive the task to be approved or reject. This approve and reject will be happen by the computer. So the user or approver person don't need to be print out the request and submit it back to the user in the case of any change. So if they are approve it, they will send it back to the HR, country manager. From the country manager, if they have any question, they will be submit again. Then if they are approve it, they will be sent it to the executive manager. From the executive manager, we will reach to the last part is HR director manager. From the HR director manager, the system will be sent out the email notification to the initiate user, HOD, country manager, and executive, and HR director manager. So the total process will be going to form submission, HOD approval, country manager approval, and executive approval process. And lastly is HR director approval. So the maximum day that they're going to be spent is only 1 day. Previously, they have to spend 10 man days to finish one submission from the user. So the application that we're using actually is docu generation, digital signature, forms and the workflow, custom mobile application. All these 4 topics that I mentioned right now is from Nintex. So quickly, I will go through the top 5 features according to business user that they like to use from the Nintex. The first one that is popular, and you heard about it today a lot, is the digital signature. The second one is the document generation. The third one is going to be lazy approval. Lazy approval basically is express approval. It means you are able to approve your task via the email, phone, or Skype. Print to PDF. Basically, print to PDF is one of the unique part of the Nintex, because as a SharePoint user, you don't have the feature to print your document via PDF. SharePoint, as a normal behavior, they are not providing you any PDF to print. Native mobile application, and another issue with the SharePoint, we don't have any application to be use your form and workflow via the phone. So Nintex again will become in for you to be used. So these 5 things that I'm pointed here is basically for business user. We go ahead for another top features according to development team. This is the part that I like it a lot, because my background from the coding is coming around 14 years. Back then, when I was doing the programming, I wrote down the code in the notepad. But at the moment, and right now, everyone can be design the form and workflow easily. You're just using the drag and drop by the Nintex. So the first things that you see here is the drag and drop action. Drag and drop, basically, we will give you the chance to design your workflow and form if you don't have enough knowledge of programming. That is the great thing for the IT manager. Is me, if you are the IT manager of your company, you don't need to be hire the people that they have the knowledge for the programming, C#, JavaScript, jQuery. So you can avoid that part. Avoid the process stalled within a state machine. SharePoint designer by themselves, they can go through the process top to down. They cannot go backward. But with the Nintex state machine, you are able to go through the back. If, for example, you want to backward 1 level back, you are able to use the action, we call it as a state machine. Integrate with other different platforms, such as Salesforce, CRM, Dropbox, and of course, Adobe. Today we had the Adobe today in the morning session. So Adobe also is integrated with our process. 4th one is assign task and schedule appointment. And 5th one, use the workflow to create user account and assign the permission. So quickly, I will be going through my demo session. Hello. Basically, this is the portal that we have been designed for JavaScript. At the first page, we design one page, we call it as a dashboard for the user, because they have the multiple form and workflow within them organization. So they was thinking, for example, if I'm entitled to 10 form, or if I have permission to 10 form, once I'm apply any item to each of these form, how can I consolidate everything to one dashboard? So SRKK team came in and gave them the idea to have one page to consolidate all the forms to one page. That we call it as a dashboard. The user will have their own user profile and the information such as department, job title, working mail. Then at the bottom, that is the important part for us, is coming for the in progress, approved, and the reject item. So in progress will be sort down all your in progress items, and from the approved, whatever item has been approved, and rejected, whatever item has been rejected from your approver or admin or manager. I will go through the form that we have been developed for them. This is the form with the Nintex that we have been developed, and they're still working on the forms. Once the user is logged into the form, they're able to see the name that is automatically populated to the page, that you no need to spend a lot of time with the JavaScript or jQuery to get these things done with the Nintex within within 1 or 2 minutes you can done these features. Once you submit the form, the system will come with the initiate username. So department, you are able to retrieve your department name, employee number, you will be able to get it. And the unique part that I like to talk is about the form field by on myself on behalf. If I'm select on behalf, the system able to retrieve another field for me to key in the user name. For example, if I'm going to be on behalf of any other person. So we call in Nintex, this one is considered as a rule. So in Nintex, you are able to design your form based on the rule. So if you have any rule within your form, you can be configured it here. So here we got the country. As you see, they have different country. Once they click on the country, the system will be read different data from different database. So we will populate here. Employment terms, they might be have any other rules that as you see here. Then they have the repeating section. The unique part that the Nintex will be allow you to design is the repeating section. SharePoint Designer or SharePoint by themselves, they are not allow you to have the repeating section. Repeating section is coming within two applications. Firstly is InfoPath. InfoPath is already discontinued. So the available option for you to have is only Nintex. If you like to have the repeating section, you can use it from the Nintex here. Then they have the dependent fields. For example, if I'm select this person, the different data will be appear and will be look up for me. And the bottom of the page, as you see, we have been developed 3 things for them. One is save as a draft, one is submit, and one is cancel. Save as draft is mean the user is going to be save whatever they have been done, and later on might become and continue on that. And submit is mean they're going to be submit the current forms. Quickly, I will move to the visual way of the SharePoint Designer and the Nintex Designer. So SharePoint Designer basically is going to be something like this. You should to have the coding background to read and design your form and workflow. But with the Nintex, you are able to use the drag and drop features to design your forms. If you don't have the IT background or programming background, no need to worry about anything. I can promise you are able to design your form by yourself. But if we reach to the workflow concept, you might have some question, because the action and configuration based on the workflow need the knowledge. On the form designing, as you see, for example, we're going through one small testing here. For example, I will say I like to add on one label here. I just use the drag and drop. This label, I'm just going to name it as email. Then I would like to have some single line of text. So this one will come as first field of me for my form. Imagine if your manager or your IT manager gave you one paper form, and from your paper form they ask you to design it to digital form. You just have to understand list of our control forms. So from here you're able to grab some choice, data time, hyperlink, image, PDF, page viewer, pupils, and choice for yes or no. And another great feature in Nintex I like to be highlighted here. One of the main issue all the programmer nowadays they face it is having the responsive template. Responsive template or responsive form is one of the main challenge for everyone. But on Nintex, they have been take care of this part for you. You just click on the add more layout. The system will be automatically generate new layout for you. So you no need to design anything for your forms. For example, you have to use any JavaScript or CSS to responsive your forms. No need to do. You just you have to ask the Nintex to do for you. You just click on a smartphone. As you see here is already appeared. The system will be generate a new form design for you automatically. Yep, this is your form. You just the things that you have to do. You might be need to do some adjustment. Give me 5 more minutes. I will be done. Okay, thank you. Then another great features I like to be highlight before our time ends is about the import and export. Import and export in Nintex is really smooth. It's really smooth. You can use this feature as a backup for your department too. If you have been done your form design and you want to have the backup of your form, you just have to click on export. The system automatically will be export your form design and save it to your own machine. So in the case if any of your user has been missed your form, you can import it easily. Or if you want to import it to different department, you are easily able to import it to another department. We will going through this process later on if you want to have another one-to-one session. Let me go through quickly the workflow design of the Nintex. This is the view how we design the workflow on Nintex. In the Nintex we have bunch of stuff on actions. As you see, docu generation, we have email notification, we have run conditions, and all is easy for you to understand and design your workflow. And I believe that here, yeah, we got the DocuSign and Adobe too. So if you're looking for any connector to Adobe or DocuSign, you are easily able to find it within the Nintex. So what I'm trying to do here, I like to put the position of the Nintex as the top of the SharePoint and top of the DocuSign, Adobe, Salesforce, and all of those applications that you know, because the Nintex can be connect all these applications together. For example, if we have the Salesforce and we have the SharePoint, how do you guys want to connect these two applications together to be work together? So is the only one thing that can be help you here is Nintex, because Nintex is come up with a lot of connector within different systems. As you see here, we are having the store too. So all the new application or new connector that is available on the Nintex, you are able to be downloaded and install it within your Tendon account. Quickly, I'll be going through another run with Andy. Give me 5 more minutes. Then we will be go off today. Because everyone has been spend a lot of time here. Yeah, give me the time. Because I like to talk about this system. Okay, right now we're seeing the Andy phones. Yeah. I'm excited to share with you about the Nintex mobile application. Why I'm trying to explain about this Nintex mobile application, because SharePoint by themselves, they are not able to provide you at the moment, by today, they are not able to provide you such as things. But on Nintex, we are able to see all our forms that we have been designed within the SharePoint. So your your employee easily just download the Nintex via Apple Store or Google Store, then they will be viewing all the forms that are available. Then one of the great features that we have here is the GPS location. Once the Andy select on GPS location, the system will be grab the location of you. So here it can be shown, for example, if you have any claim system within your company, for example, in Singapore, I want to do some claim in airport, I just snap the picture from my ticket, and also I do the GPS location, then my boss makes sure that I was there. Actually, I'm not lying. So we have another part is for the adding the items and adding the pictures. So he's going to snap my pictures, okay. Yeah. On Nintex, we got the edit photo. Yep. On the edit photo, you are able to do the crop. You are able to do the blur. Okay, what are you doing now? Okay, cool. Then apply and attach it. Wow. Remove. Okay, cool. Okay, that's good. Yeah, once Andy select OK, then the system will be attached to the forms automatically. So another two more great feature on Nintex mobile application. Can you back? Okay. I'm going to talk about online signature and barcode reader. Barcode reader is basically one of the features in Nintex. So right now, the Andy is going to be read the barcode from his tag. Yeah, let's the camera zoom in. Okay, as you see, the Sparkle ID has been pulled out. Then another great feature we have the Nintex mobile signature. This Nintex mobile signature can be used from DocuSign, Adobe Sign 2, but this is coming as free on Nintex application. So if you wish to have it via the DocuSign or Adobe, also you are able to use the connector from the Nintex to connect to those applications. So Andy sign in and approve it and just submit it. Another thing is important on Nintex mobile application is consider about a draft, output and send. In the case you are flying to other country and you don't have internet connection and you want to submit the form or key in something to the form as a claim or leave, you are able to do it, and the system will be save it as a draft. So once your mobile is get the internet connection or your data is coming back, the system will be automatically submitted to the SharePoint. So this is basically some of the great features from Nintex. I know my time is really short, and the last slide is going to be my last speech here. Take my microphone. What's now? Bring your own process to evaluate by SRKK team. Guys, I believe that in your organization you have a bunch of the form paper. Just ask us to coming down to your office. I will give you 30 days free trial version and plus one free POC together. I will promise you to design your form within 1 hour with you in that session. But not mean one of the complicated form is the simplest one. You try to get some simplest form. For example, e-leave application for me is simplest because I can grab from my Tendon account and import it to your Tendon account too. So 3 things we are give away today is bring your own process to evaluate, one-to-one session to execute 30-day tutorial, implement free POC. Whoever like to have this offer, please step by on our booths and we will be happy to serve you there. And I see some question from Slido. Andy, do you want to answer them? Okay, Nintex can provide connector to ERP system and automate process such as leave, onboarding, and review. Yes, we are able to be connected to ERP too. We have two types of the license. One is coming as a standard edition, one is coming enterprise. If you're purchasing enterprise Nintex edition, you are able to connect to ERP. If you're going to using the standard edition, we are able to give you the solution that able to connect with the ERP or any other server. Basically, it's going to be have one staging server between your database and the SharePoint. They will grab the data, pump it to the SharePoint, and they will process from the Nintex form and workflow. Really, thank you for your time today. I see the guys already. Look at me. Thank you very much. I appreciate for your comment. Thank you.